Hi, it's Jenny, and I'm here to inspire you to be as creative as possible. Let's go out on the porch and paint a rainbow. Let me just tell you that rainbows are the most beautiful thing and so random in the sky that I just love to see them. And if I know there's one out there, I run out to see it right away because it's something magical in the air. And I just love them so much. So one of the things I do with color blending in the beginning of the year with first graders, and you could do it with your own kids, is we do a rainbow. And we talk about the primary colors. We use Crayola markers, which it doesn't matter if they're Crayola. They just need to be water based. And then we talk about using the point versus the side, because we can color much faster if we use the side. One of the first things I do if I have multiple children is I use a permanent marker and I write all their names on the side so that when they are drying, I can tell whose is whose. Make sure that you put a piece of paper under your coffee filter, and after we spray it, it still gets a little messy, so make sure you're on something that you can wipe clean. First thing I say is, you know how the size of a ping pong ball. So if you know the size of a ping pong ball, and you're going to do that right in the center. And then we color it in, and we use the side of our marker because it just colors it so much faster. If we color with the point, it takes a lot longer. So once we have this ping pong ball sized circle in the center, we go on to our next color. Next, I talk about how we have 3 more colors that need to go between here and there, the side of the paper. So I just want to go about there and color all the way to my red. And it's okay if we want to go a little bit on top of the red, and we're going to go all the way around. And it doesn't ever have to be perfect. And you're just going to color all of that in. And you can go a little bit over the red. So now you have your finished colored coffee filter, and you're going to go around with the magic water. And I always spray, but if you want to have the kids spray, you can. I go around the kids and then let them watch. I tell them not to touch it because it does get all over them, and the magic needs to happen. If they lift it off of the paper, then underneath, and they get it back to a different spot, sometimes it kind of messes up the rainbow, although it's fun watching all the colors blend. But you can see that the colors are starting to blend, and it's not drenched. And then I let it dry for a couple minutes as I walk around squirting all the kids. But if you're at home with just one child, you'd want to wait a couple minutes. And if it looks like it's blending really well, then you don't need to squirt again. But sometimes it's just fun to make sure that all the spots are blended well. And then you just let it dry. When it is completely dry, which is usually the next week for me for art, but for you it would just be a little bit later. Coffee filters dry pretty quickly. They love the paper underneath, so I always tell them that they get to keep the paper underneath as well, and they're always so excited to do other pictures with it. So we've gone from this to this. I give everyone a 1/4 sheet of paper pre-cut so that they fill it, because if I don't give them specific directions, I find that they make little arcs that are like this big. And if you don't want to do a Noah's Ark, you surely do not have to. I work at a private school, so I get to do that kind of thing. I love it, blending it all together. But we use a brown marker or a pencil, and we draw a line across the halfway mark or so of the paper, and we curve it over to the other side. We make a rectangle on top, and then I just tell the kids to extend their top, make a diagonal, and then come across. And then that is our boat. I have them cut it out, so then we get some fine motor skills going on in there. And then I have them cut their coffee filter in half. Then we only use 1/2 of the rainbow, and we glue it down, and then we glue before we glue the boat on, we talk about lines and how water lines are wavy. So we do wavy lines across the horizon, and we glue our rainbow and then our boat, and then I let them embellish how they'd like. So like I said, I give them this, they get to this point, and then I set them free. They can draw what they want to with their art. So then I get all kinds of wonderful pieces, mermaids, we get all kinds of little ocean animals and birds, and they just go wild with all of their little creatures. Some did the sun. They just love this piece of work, and they've gotten to learn how primary colors blend into secondary colors. They've gotten to use their fine motor skills with cutting and using the point of the marker versus the side of the marker. And they got to be creative in the end, making it their own pieces. I hope you enjoy. I hope this inspires you to color blend on your own. Coffee filters are really fun to blend colors with on your own. Makes like a tie-dye. You could always use all kinds of colors and blend different ways.